How y'all doing today? I want to make a video on eating disorders and my experiences with binge eating. So hopefully some of y'all, if y'all are going through binge eating currently, maybe this video can help y'all, or y'all can better relate to me. Just to let you know that even though I'm a dietitian and I stay in shape pretty much year round, it is something that I have gone through. It is something that I fight constantly. It is what it is. So it really started during my prep for my physique competition in April that just passed. I actually went 5 weeks where I really started dieting. I went really low carbs for 5 weeks. I wasn't playing any games. I really wanted to be as cut as possible. Usually people, they'll eat like a moderate amount of carbs or a carb cycle, and then they'll wait till the last week till they really start cutting carbs. But I cut carbs for 5 weeks in a row. So, and if you've been a subscriber to my channel for a while, you know that I love to eat fruit. Every time I do like a grocery shopping list, especially if you follow my Instagram, I always post fruit. I always buy fruit from the store. And so that's something that I had to give up when I was preparing for that competition. And so that drove me crazy. So once I did the competition, that night I went straight to Trader Joe's and I bought as much fruit as I could. I also bought peanut butter, Ezekiel bread, all that. And I ate until my heart's content, until I was finna burst. And actually the day after my competition, I looked better than when I did at the competition, because I didn't carb up before my competition, because I was like, I done went 5 weeks dieting this hard. I'm not about to risk eating all this junk food and carbs and then I lose like pretty much all the progress that I've been working for. But that night after the competition, once I ate all that food, I looked way better the next morning. I was full and vascular and everything. And so after the competition, I decided to take a week off from the gym and I just started eating. I was like, all the foods that I was missing out on for them previous 5 weeks, I was eating. I was eating like a jar of peanut butter a day, eating whole watermelons a day. On top of that, eating bananas, going through bags of grapes, bags of apples. So I was still eating pretty healthy, but I was eating a lot of food. And it was getting to the point where my stomach was distended at all times. And it was crazy because within 2 weeks after my competition day, I was like 146 pounds. In 2 weeks, I gained like 20 pounds. I was 170 pounds. That was the heaviest I've ever been in my life. And I lost all my definition, like it was crazy. Like I lost all my gains. And I was like, man, I need to tighten up. And I kind of wanted to put on weight so I can bulk up a little bit. But man, I look like crap. But the thing about bulking and why I don't really bulk up is because the heavier I get, the more lazy I get. It's like I'm not motivated to go to the gym. I'm not motivated to work out hard. And it's like I don't feel any noticeable strength gains. So whenever I'm lean and cut and vascular, that's when I go hard in the gym. That's when I'm work out at home on top of the gym. That's when I'm just motivated. And so it's just gaining that weight, it wasn't good. And it was like, all right, I need to cut back down because this is getting ridiculous. And it was hard because now after doing that for 2 weeks, I was used to eating a lot of food. And even though I wasn't hungry, I just wanted the taste of food. And so it got to the point where I was eating like a jar of peanut butter a day, eating whole watermelons. And if you're from Louisiana, in the springtime, they sell big watermelons on the side of the road. And I was eating I was going through a big watermelon like every 1 to 2 days. And it was crazy because I didn't realize that I still had my tan on. And because my stomach was always distended, I actually had like a crack in my stomach. And I was like, I was getting scared. I was thinking that was a stretch mark, but it turned out that the tan was cracking. And so I was like, oh no, this has got to change. So I started trying to cut back a little bit. And man, when I say this, it was hard. It was hard to lose the weight. I lost like 5 pounds, but I could not go below 165. And I could not get cut for the life of me. I still had visible abs showing, but I was nowhere to where I'm used to being. And so I started going back to the gym hard. Like I said, once I started gaining weight, I wasn't working out as hard as I was. Stopped doing cardio, and I was like, man, this is getting ridiculous. And so I just, you know what I'm saying, kept working out. The weight was not coming off. I thought I had metabolic damage. I started reading books on metabolic damage and everything, and it was tough. That's kind of why I haven't been showing my physique like the whole summer, because I wasn't where I wanted to be. And I started experimenting, trying to figure out what was causing me to keep the weight on. And slowly but surely, I kind of started getting it under control. I finally cut out the peanut butter, which was really hard. That was, man, a peanut butter addiction is really hard to get rid of. Started cutting back on the watermelons. Well, the watermelon season ended, so that was kind of easy. Started cutting back on the fruit, and I still wasn't really losing the weight like I wanted to. I couldn't understand it. I thought I'd permanently mess my body up from that competition, prepping that competition. And so, what I found out was the problem. I had to go back to square one. I was like, I need to do exactly what I was doing before the competition. And the biggest thing was cardio. Once I started my cardio routine, I started getting leaner. And then, like I say, once I started getting leaner, I started getting more disciplined, started working out harder. And so everything started tightening up. And like I showed you in my last video, I'm pretty much back to how I was. And so, but it was hard, man. And even as a dietitian, even eating healthy, it was hard to get back on track. So I can feel, I can kind of relate to how what people go through when they have eating disorders, especially binge eating. But it's all mental. You gotta find some way to motivate yourself to break out of it. But that's kind of why I don't really want to do a competition anymore, because once you start dieting really hard, that's why I don't advise people to do fad diets and stuff that are really restrictive, because once you start starving your body of nutrients and the stuff that you really need, once you start back eating those foods, you can't control yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of people that do these competitions, they suffer through binge eating disorders after the competition is over. Like you always see them. They'll get really lean for a competition, and then right after the competition, they start eating all kind of junk food and stuff, and they end up getting fat. And it's like an ongoing cycle. And it's something that I do not advise for people, because some of the guys that compete, they have the discipline and coaches that they can continue to get big and then lose the weight for competitions, get big and lose the weight. But a lot of people, once they start going in the wrong direction, it's hard for them to tighten back up and get back to and get back focused. But that was just my experience with binge eating. I have it under control. And the thing about it, once you get it under control, just be consistent. And I probably won't ever bulk again. I'm going to stay lean, because that was an experience for me. And it was hard. It was really had to challenge myself mentally on getting myself back on track. But hopefully some of y'all can relate to this. Hopefully this can help some of y'all out. I hope y'all have a nice day.